Good day to you. Today we'll look at a chapter titled Flexibility. Now, what is flexibility in terms of HRM? It is the efficiency which your human resources can be deployed and redeployed across the organization, the length and breadth of the organization, to meet your business objectives. So what is flexibility all about? Let's take a look at it. As I mentioned earlier, flexibility is about deploying your resources across functions, across geographies. So what are the reasons for workplace flexibility, and why do you need to have approaches for flexibility? Increase competition. In an environment where your competitor is doing one step better always, you need to gear up for this kind of competition, and you need to have flexible work practices, and labor workforce flexibility is important. Demographic changes. Now, what are the changes in the labor market? What is the age structure? What is the gender diversity available for you, so that you can rope them in to make your workforce cutting edge and useful to attain your business objectives. Now, technological changes. With rapid changes in technology and improvement in workflow process and systems, you need to gear up your workforce to meet the technological changes, and that needs flexibility. Now, increased market uncertainty. As the economies are going through recessions and booms in a cycle, what you can find is that companies need to have flexible workforces to tackle all these kind of uncertainties. Now, you need to have a clear understanding on labor market trends and flexibility. As an organization, you should be clear about the age structure. What is the age structure in the labor market and also within your organization, just to make sure you're planning for future contingencies. Diversity. Let's say, for example, when it comes to women, what is the ratio of men to women in your organization, and what is available in the market? So how do you want to give a mix so that you are competitive? Use of non-standard contracts, use of temporary contracts to maintain a balance in your workforce and also to manage any shortfall in labor. The differences in particular labor markets. The shortage of skill in a particular labor market may force you as an employer to go to another region or another country to source for labor. This might result in outsourcing or offshoring of contracts. Regulation of working hours. With increased intervention in labor legislation, you might want to have a look at your working hours and in turn gain business advantage. Let's take a look at work-life balance. Work-life balance is a concept which recognizes the need for employers to support workers in achieving a balance between the demands of their work and demands of home and family responsibilities. Now, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. We've heard of this. So when it comes to a job environment, excessive concentration on work may lead to burnout. So organizations need to have flexible practices just to maintain a work-life balance for their employees. Let's take a look at a video wherein you can see the result of excessive working, what it can do to a particular individual.
ชินก็รู้ว่าชินไม่ค่อยมีเวลาชินก็ทำงานหนักเพื่อเราสองคนแต่ก็ต้องการ
งานหนักนะครับ
Now, there is an argument whether flexibility falls under hard HRM or soft HRM. Now, there are two distinct orientations. Let's see. Proponents of hard HRM say that flexibility falls under this school of thought because it is about efficient use of labor resource, giving priority to business objectives. Whereas soft HRM proponents say that it is emphasis on empowerment, so that it increases the commitment, the motivation level, and it develops the employees. So these are two different schools of thought when it comes to the flexibility concept. What are the mutual benefits for the organization and the employee in flexibility? Now, it is cost effective, an efficient way of utilizing the labor resource. An employer gets the option to maneuver around the available workforce. It gives him an edge and gives him cost effective solutions so that he uses the resources in an efficient manner. For the employee, higher quality of work life because flexibility is tuned into the system, and greater job satisfaction and work-life balance, which is most critical in the modern times. Now, what are the types of flexibility and what are the situations wherein an employer needs to respond to challenges? There are numerical challenges, temporal, functional, financial, locational, and cultural. So, an employer has to respond to numerical challenges by adhering to flexible work practices, by having short-term contracts, having your consultants and freelance workers to manage the sudden spike in demand. Temporal can be managed with agencies. Functional, when you have a crisis or you have need for certain functional people, you can cross deploy or redeploy people from other functions to manage the crisis. Now, financial, no longer is a job a basis of reward for people. So what you can do is devise innovative pay and benefit systems to manage the temporary workers and to motivate them. Now, locational flexibility is by having satellite offices, you can manage the challenges of locational flexibility, and cultural challenges can be achieved or faced by having orientation programs to have a flexible approach towards the workplace diversity. Now, let us take a look at the Shamrock organization or Cloverleaf. When this is an approach which organizations can and will adopt. Now, this stock is the customers, the centermost focus of all the three entities. At the core, you have the professional people who are dedicated and committed to the organization and their career lies in the organization. The organization's survival is depending on the expertise and knowledge of this professional core. And there is a flexible labor force which takes care of the day-to-day operations, and their commitment is about their own job. It depends, the motivation level depends on their job performance and satisfaction. You have a contractual fringe, your subcontractors and your consultants who come in and go out according to the needs of the organization. This is a typical Cloverleaf pattern which you can find, wherein you can have a flexible approach to your workforce in achieving your business needs. Now, what are the flexible working methods? Part-time and temporary working. Who is a part-time worker? He is someone with a contract or employment relationship whose normal hours of work are less than the normal hours of work compared to full-timers. Now, this again gives flexibility to the management to have a mix of workers and also for the employees to gain employment as a short-term firm as part-time workers when there are not opportunities for full-time working. Then we want job sharing. An existing full-time position is split into two so that two people can share it, working part-time and paid pro rata. One job is split into two so that you have a flexibility. Two people can perform it based on two different time shifts and they are paid accordingly. Let's take a look at teleworking and home working. Teleworking describes the process of working from home or from a satellite office close to home with the aid of network or internet linked computers, fax machines and other ICT applications. These are modern concepts to tackle and take care of the challenges which an organization faces when it comes to availability of labor resource and complex business environment. These are innovations. Now, teleworking forms can be classified as home working, freelancing, mobile working and call center working. When it comes to home working, it takes care of the workforce which is not able to come out because of various other personal conditions. Let's say single parents or parents with children who cannot step into a full-term employment, freelance workers who offer their services to different organizations at a premium, mobile working, say working from satellite offices, or for typical example as salespeople who can carry and work their mobile phones, smartphones and their laptops because they are on the field. So that is one kind of mobile working. Call center working, your typical data entry jobs and technical support jobs, these form under teleworking. Teleworking advantages. Now, it definitely gives you significant savings on overhead costs. Now, it saves premises costs and your utilities. Elimination of the need to commute, which reduces your fuel consumption, commuter stress, and obviously pollution comes down. Better work-life balance and less stress. You have more time because you're saving time on the transportation and commutation to workplace. As a result, you get to have a better work-life balance. Now, what is multi-skilling? It's a concept wherein it gives functional versatility. It is the opposite of specialization. It involves the development of versatility in the labor force so that individuals can perform more than one task if required to do so. So it is diagonally opposite to what is called specialization. You need people in the recent times with a lot of problems and changes in the business environment. You need resources with multi skills so that you can cross deploy them and redeploy them wherein you have contingencies and you have crisis situations, so that you no longer have to recruit people for a particular situation from the labor market. No, you can ask them to do more than one task if required to do so based on a particular situation. What are the benefits of multi-skilling? Now, it is a way to make efficient use of your human resources. Now, when they are underutilized or say they are not utilized to the potential, you can adopt this method wherein multi-skilling brings out the best in them and it's an efficient use. Now, ends costly demarcation disputes. Now, the traditional concept of demarcation and compartmentalization, wherein one department doesn't look into the aspects of other department, is overcome by multi-skilling, so that when there is a crunch, you have this dividing line being thrown out and you have an efficient use of the resources.